Mystery teaser. This one is historical fiction. Guess the book and author, win a prize. Post your guess on our Schoology Learning Commons group. We must be the great arsenal of democracy. President Franklin D. Roosevelt. Radio broadcast to the American people on December 29th, 1940. Part 1. Before. The Arsenal of Democracy. Saturday, December 6th, 1941. It's an attack! Stanley cried. Enemy airplanes, dozens of them, coming in low over the water. They're shooting marine machine guns, I added, turning in my seat. Dropping torpedoes. Fire, explosions, shrapnel everywhere, Stanley said. The water around us was a sparkling mirror, the sky bright blue without a cloud or plane in sight. My best friend, Stanley Summers, and I were sailing across Pearl Harbor in our little aluminum motorboat, headed home from baseball practice. Stanley was steering, and I was sitting facing him. We were talking out a story idea for the superhero we were creating together. I was the writer, and Stanley was the illustrator. It was going to be the greatest comic book ever. And flying up to meet them, I went on, is Warhawk, protector of the innocent, guardian of freedom. He smashes one plane with his fist and uses his heat vision to destroy another, bullets peeing off his chest. Wait, Frank, Stanley cut in. Warhawk has too many superpowers. I paused, confused. What do you mean? I asked. He's got as many superpowers as Superman. Superman's a cheat, Stanley said. He's super strong and super fast. He can fly. He has x-ray vision and super hearing. And super breath. It's boring. He shook his head. Our character should have one superpower like Captain America has super strength, or the Flash has super speed. I leaned forward in my seat. Oh, come on, I said. You're telling me you'd rather be Captain America than Superman? Heck yeah, Stanley said. He took his hand off the tiller to give me a crisp salute. Stars and stripes, baby. Wouldn't it be amazing to get the super soldier serum? I wanted to say yes, but Steve Rogers hadn't known what that super soldier serum was going to do to him before he took it. What if it had killed him? Or turned him into a monster? I wouldn't have taken the risk, not even for the chance to be Captain America. But I wasn't going to admit that to Stanley. I held tight to the sides of the boat as Stanley steered us toward Ford Island. A light breeze wafted the smell of pineapple and sugar cane across the bay, and the palm trees along the shore swayed. Somewhere a radio played the soft, plinky sounds of Hawaiian ukulele music. In some ways, it felt like someone had already slipped me the super soldier serum. I'd grown 12 inches in the past year. Now, at 13 years old, I was taller than my mom. I was like one of those Charles Atlas ads you saw in the back of the comics. Send for this free book and go from scrawny runt to Greek god in just 3 months. Only I didn't feel like a Greek god. I was always tripping over my own big feet, and I felt clumsy and awkward in my new body. Stanley was the opposite. He was comfortable in his skin, with a casual confidence that I tried to copy, but never could quite get right. Like his clothes. While I wore a t-shirt and rolled up jeans like most boys our age, Stanley stood out in his white shorts and oversized aloha shirt with bright red flowers. He did his own thing and didn't worry about what anybody thought of him. Stanley and I looked different in other ways, too. I was white, with skin that turned pink from sunburn, blue eyes, and wavy light brown hair. Stanley was a cross between his Japanese American mom and his white dad, with tan skin, dark brown eyes, and straight black hair. But we were brothers, forever and always, thanks to our love of comic books. How sold are you on the name Warhawk? Stanley asked, pulling me out of my thoughts. Uh-huh. Not particularly, I said. We'd taken his name from the type of fighter plane that my dad flew in the Navy. But I'd never loved it. It made our hero sound like he was always looking for a fight. You got any other ideas? I asked Stanley. No, he said. You're the writer. I was hoping you had something. I thought about it as I looked out across the water. Ringing Pearl Harbor like stone sentinels were the steel-gray battleships and cruisers and destroyers that made up the U.S. Pacific Fleet, all enjoying a lazy Saturday afternoon in port. Big ships gave me an idea. I turned toward Stanley, feeling a rush of excitement. How about the arsenal of democracy? I said. It's something I'd heard President Roosevelt call the United States on the radio. There was a war happening overseas. Adolf Hitler, the evil leader of Nazi Germany, was trying to conquer all of Europe and maybe the world. Hitler had made a pact with Italy and Japan to form the Axis powers. Great Britain, Russia, China, and most of the other countries in the world, the Allies, were fighting against the Axis. But so far, America had stayed out of the war. We still wanted to help, so the U.S. had become the arsenal of democracy, cranking our ships and planes and tanks and guns to loan to the Allies. I don't know, said Stanley. It's kind of wordy. Stanley's lack of enthusiasm took some of the wind out of my sails, but I wasn't going to give up. It's like the Sentinel of Liberty, I argued, knowing how much Stanley loved Captain America's nickname. And we can call our character Arsenal for short. Okay, yeah, Stanley said, smiling as he came around. And maybe he uses a shield, just like Cap. Something like this. Stanley pulled a pencil and paper from his pocket and started sketching, which was a bad idea because he was the one driving the boat. And that is the end of our mystery teaser. Go to Schoology, to our Learning Commons group, and post your guess there. The first person to post the correct title and author will win a prize in the Learning Commons.